All right, so this is the new project. It's a 2000 Ducati Monster 900. It's been sitting around for a while. You might have seen it in some other videos kind of sitting in the background. So when we got this a while ago, it was kind of just stuffed on the side of a guy's house, and he couldn't get it running. So we got it for a pretty good deal, but let me walk you around it. I saw this seat on there, and it's a pretty nice seat. And I thought, like, this is probably worth the price that I paid for it. So in case you don't know Ducatis, they got a dry clutch cover. It does have a lot of carbon fiber on it. Right here, this belly pan. Some of the carbon fiber looks pretty good like that stuff, but then you got this carbon fiber up here, which, I don't know, maybe we'll try refinishing that in the future. And then this right here. You probably can't tell, but that's actually carbon fiber, but it doesn't look very good. But anyways, so this rig has 34,000 miles on it, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for a motorcycle, that is a lot. So I think we need to figure out why it's not running, and hopefully we can do that in this episode. We do have some stuff hanging. I'm pretty sure it's going to need all that to run. This looks like it's for a battery tender. The tires, they look good from afar, but they're far from good. They got dry rot and stuff like that. So when you're looking at a motorcycle, one of the things that you can do is, regardless of what the guy's telling you, like it's never been outside and he's only babied it, just look at what the bike is actually telling you. So right here, see how these are kind of more of a pink than a red? This kind of indicates to me that these were outside. So those have been outside for a while. The other thing too is look on the sides of the bike and you can see if it's been down. I don't think that that indicates it's been crashed. So if you look at both sides, you should be able to tell if it's actually been crashed or not. I don't think it came factory with this giant shock absorber. So everything, you're looking for the high points of where it would have hit, and I don't see any of those. So the other thing is just look for parts that don't belong. So you can see this right there, that's nice and silver, which is factory, and then you got this side which is black and it's missing a foot peg. So that's interesting. The other thing too is on motorcycles you can really tell how it has been ridden according to the tires. So if it's an experienced rider, the edges right here will be very like worn, but this right here, you can tell how the center's kind of almost flat and then it kind of goes off at an angle. That's indicating to me that whoever owned this was probably just doing burnouts in it. But I thought, if nothing else, I should be able to part it out and get all my money back, or maybe we'll do like an engine swap if the engine's bad. The ultimate goal is just to get it started. It does have aftermarket pipes, GPR. I don't know, I see them all over eBay. The other thing that is kind of concerning to me is this texture on this. Most Ducatis I have seen don't have that texture. So I'm unsure what's going on there, or if it overheated or what. So first thing to do before we actually get into anything, this is a sight window right here. So when you hold the bike level, you should see fluid right there. Okay, so you see it right there, so it at least has oil. Looks a little dirty, but it does have oil. So even though he couldn't get it running, there's obvious stuff you can test. You can easily test the clutch, and on a Ducati it's pretty easy because you can see the clutch plate actually moving back and forward. You can test the brakes. So back brake works, front brake works. So all of that works pretty well. But all right, let's. I'm gonna put it on a wheel chock, so that way I don't knock it over, and we're gonna start taking stuff off and see what we see. So yeah, the seats come off pretty easy. Just gotta use the key. Never checked inside of this this box. I don't know if there's anything in there. Oh, that's pretty cool. It has the little Ducati toolkit in here. Let's see what's in here. Looks like just basic tools. All right, so now that we got the seat off, let's see what's underneath. Okay, it looks like it has a power commander. Ooh. Got the side ripped open. Got a spider on the back. Huh. All right. Not sure what's going on there. Okay. Okay. Yeah, got those. And that's not factory Ducati right there. A hose clamp and a bolt. So let's hope that that's not stopping anything. There's the coil. All right. Well, looking fun so far. All right. So this is how you get the gas tank to roll back, and it should be the air box underneath here. There's all the fuel lines. Alrighty. There's the battery. Interesting. All right, let me prop this up and we'll start digging in to see what we got going on here. All right, so digging through everything, this might be the module for this tail light. These might be for turn blinkers, which it doesn't have. It also doesn't have any side mirrors. The factory ones are right here, and then it looks like you had aftermarket ones right here, but those are gone. These are also aftermarket handles. They're okay. Digging through everything, this looks like it's for the power commander because it kind of goes back and ties right into that. If I'm correct, the way the power commander works is the signals come into here, it does whatever it does, and then it comes back out here into the computer. So I believe that should probably go here. I wonder if it was taken off to see if there was a problem. I think for now we'll just leave that off, and I think we'll actually hook some power to it and see what's going on. All right, I'm just gonna crudely plug some stuff on, plug some stuff in. We'll start it out slow, 2 amps. Let me know if you see any fires. Oh, the TAC is reading 3,500. Interesting. Let's see. Oh. Okay. Well, let's crank it up to 40 amps. Here's some relays going off. It is turning over. Let me turn it up to 200. Let's see what happens. Oh. All right, probably need to let it sit here and charge for a bit. You know, one thing I'm not hearing though is I'm not hearing the fuel pump. So kind of wondering if that's the issue. All right, she sat here charging for a bit. Let's see. Oh, there we go. That's not bad. Turns over and there's no crunch, because this era of Ducati, like one of the catastrophic failures would be to drop a valve. So it wouldn't turn over that easy if there was a valve clanking around in there. At least I hope not. But all right, let's check for a spark now. All right, so I got that spark tester all plugged in right there. All right, don't know if you can see it, but there is a little bit of spark action happening. All right, so what we're gonna do is I have a jumper wire hooked to the connector into the gas tank for the fuel pump. I have a voltmeter hooked to it, and then we're gonna cycle the ignition. So what happens is the relay kicks off right when you turn the ignition on, so we should see a voltage jump right there. So let's see. All right, see the voltage? And then you hear the relay click back off. What that's showing is the fuel pump is actually getting power. So it's better to double check everything rather than start throwing parts at it. So what we need to do now is we need to unhook all the lines, take the gas tank off, maybe dump the fuel out, and then from there, replace the fuel pump. All right, so before we take these off, my wife marked them. So B for backflow, and then this one is D for delivery. So we should just be able to pry all these off. This is just, I think, an overflow vent. Okay, that one should figure itself out. I'm also noticing down here, I didn't see it before, but there's a connector that's not plugged in right there. Guess we'll figure that one out later. There it goes. Completely dry in there, so definitely was not getting any pressure that way. Sometimes twisting them will help break it free, but if the hose is brittle, you might just destroy the hose at that point. Sometimes the twisting with a pulling motion will help kind kind of work it off. Definitely want to make sure all your clamps are as loose as possible, because like this one, how it has a flare out, it will get tighter as it comes out. Now that seems to be the move, twisting while you're pushing with a screwdriver. Oh, all right, so that definitely has gas coming out, so I'm going to turn off the this guy, because I've seen that spark before, and we'll probably try and get something to attempt to catch the gas. So we'll see how that goes. Oop. No, it got sprayed with gas, so that's fun. Well, hopefully the tank doesn't have more gas than that. It's definitely some good dehydrated gas, though. Look at that thing. Oh, yeah. Guess I'll find something else we can fill up. Don't necessarily have a lot out here. Apparently there's a lot of gas in here. There we go. Now we're hands off. All right, that was a little sketchy for a second there, but got some fuel line, and we've tapped into that. It's just going down, just automatically filling up. So as soon as that's done, hopefully it's not more than a gallon in there. Realistically, it's only going to go till about here, and then we'll dump the rest of the gas out another way. But all right, so we filled up this little alcohol and that 1 gallon of water, and then we started it on the other one, and then it ended. So now we're going to finish up taking out the other clip here, or the other hose clamp. Do the same thing we did before. Push with the screwdriver, and then get your pliers and just twist as you're pushing, and it slowly works it off. All right, there we go. So everything, so this is the line that's going down to there, to the tank, or to the milk carton. So there's a clip on the gas tank, on its little hinge. Looks like there's a washer. Here's the little kickstand, and then you just gotta push this pin over. All yours. Set her in the grass. All right, so we're gonna try to just dump out the rest of the gas. I'll show you how this goes on. It's just set screws that kind of force their way into here. So now trying to do this without scratching up the tank, it still feels like there's a lot of gas in here. Oh, got a splashing leaker. So I'm going to clean all this up and then put this on probably a folding table so it's a easier working height. But we'll bring it back in there because I think the fuel pump's actually fairly easy to change out on these. All right, so got it on the table. Here is the fuel pump. So it's just a plug-in, and then I believe there's like a sock that goes here, the pressured line out. So there's the sock. And then it even came with some hose clamps. I'll have a link in the description. Just pick that up off of Amazon. So I believe it's going to be hard to explain, but I believe there's like a clip like this down in here. So that's how we just need to get that off. I believe these are vent tubes. I'm not sure what's going on there. Oh, I think this is like if you excess gas in here, then it spills out. I think in a more ideal scenario, this would be a lot easier if this was off. So there we go. Now that's off. All right, just a little bit more working room in here now. Not sure what the whole spring thing is about. Just have to keep it so it doesn't collapse. All right, so I don't know how, it's got to kind of reach in here. I'm tugging on. The hose in here does not feel very good though, which is awesome. Oh, something worked. Oh. Wow. Yeah. So this looks like the fuel filter And this pulled right out of the fuel pump, I'm guessing. Wow, okay. The hose is just disintegrating. Let me see if I can't get it off from this side. I think it might be better just to... There's no way we're using that hose again. There we go. Guess we're gonna figure out that one. Yeah, the hose is completely collapsed. Gonna get a spotlight in here to see if I can't see what's going on a little bit better. Oh yeah, that looks fun. At least I know where the fuel pump is now. It's about right here. See, look at all this stuff. It's from the hose breaking down. Fuel pump seems pretty like locked in there, so I'm trying to see if before I just decide to break something. I don't know if it's I just can't get enough leverage on the, because it's right, it's like right here, and from what I know about this, it just has like a clip holding this on, and it's not like a clip that you need to remove. It's just like a spring clip. But I mean, I can even feel it, but it doesn't feel like it wants to move that easily. Wow, I got the boot. Oh yeah, look at it's just completely falling apart. We're gonna need to flush this out completely. Oh, got more of it here. Oh yeah. Well, that's fun. I don't know, maybe I'll get a little pry bar, see if I can't pry it out that way. I think that there might be something rubber it's sitting in. Judging by the way everything else looks, maybe that rubber is a bit petrified. I've sort of pried it up. Let's see how it feels now. Oh, yeah, maybe. It seems like it has two clips actually. So there's one on the front and one on the back, and it seems to be stuck on the one on the back currently. Oh, it's sort of coming. My hand's all the way about right here right now. Oh, got it. All right, so we can finally see what's going on here. Oh. So it was sitting in these, and obviously we'll try to put those back in. So here is the connector. Let's try not to destroy that. There we go. You can see that it's the same deal. So we'll try to get it out of this and then put the new one into that. But I feel like we got to flush this out. I don't feel like we have a choice. This has to be flushed out. There's so much like junk in here that we don't really have a choice. We got to flush it out. I'm gonna wash up and then I'll see if I can't put you guys in there for you guys to at least see it. All right, so I'm gonna send you in now. So right there, see all the white stalactite things right there? I'm not sure how much you can see down there. That's what the inside looks like. So I think what I need to do is I'm gonna clean that, flush that around. I'm gonna maybe flush out the fuel filter. I didn't plan on replacing that, so I don't know that I have one of those or if we're gonna order one. So yeah, I think the first thing first is to flush it out and then to replace this right here. And so I think the thing is to take this rubber boot off, see if it actually comes off, and then we'll put it onto the new one and then start transferring everything over. All right, I got all the gas out of it. Now I'm just filling it up. It seems like any of those other little particles are breaking up pretty easily. So I'm just gonna fill it up, swash it around, empty it out, fill it up, swash it around, empty it out. Go through that process a few times until I feel like it's clean. Maybe I'll get in there with a rag, scrub around. Okay, so now that it's all pretty well cleaned out, I mean, sure, it could be better, but it's not bad. So I'm gonna leave it in the sun, and then that'll heat up the tank itself and help the water that's left on the inside to evaporate. So I was turning it over like this, but obviously there's a lip right here. So I would turn it over with a paper towel in here so that the paper towel was at the lowest point, and there's no standing water that is rolling around in there now. So I feel like everything is going to be good on that part. That's interesting. wonder if it's leaking right there. I have another Ducati Monster, and it leaked right there. And I had to epoxy coat the inside of the gas tank. So hopefully we don't got to do that on this one. Before we get into all that, I definitely need to hear this thing run. But all right, I'm gonna break for lunch now, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna feel around in here. So before I do anything in here, I wanna make sure that all the water and any other debris that I can pry out is out. All right, back from lunch. Now I'm gonna see about how to get this thing off. That part is pretty easy. This thing feels sticky. All right, it looks like this could just go on either way. All right, that's all locked on. All right, the pre-filter of the filter of the filter. This part is completely shredded. Luckily, it came with one, so we're just going to use that one. Now, unfortunately, I don't really want to replace this fuel filter just yet because I don't even know if the bike runs, and we're just throwing money at it at this point. Plus, I looked around and I couldn't even get one today. So I'm gonna clean it up really good. And then if it gets running, maybe we'll think about replacing it. But anyways, the cheapest I could find one was 18 bucks, plus tax, plus shipping and all that. Well, it came with new clamps. I guess we'll use those. All right, so we're all set back up. So I'm gonna clear all this off and bring the tank back over. All right, so before I spend all the time getting this all back together, I wanted to see, to make sure that this actually turned over when I turned the key on. So let's see. Yeah, see, that's how it's supposed to sound. All right, so now that we know that works, we'll finish putting this back together. So I'm gonna wedge this back in here, make sure it clips. Might need to help it. All right, that looks good. So now I'm gonna wedge this whole thing back in here. I'll probably put on a new fuel line right there because that also has to be figured out because that fuel line does not feel right. So I guess before I do that, take out this one. I'm gonna take a razor blade and just try to cut the hose. Hopefully that'll allow me to kind of more peel it off. This hose is disintegrating as well. Yeah, look at it. It's weird and flat and just crunchy. All right. Not a lot of space for my big old gorilla hands. I wonder how they expected somebody to do this, really. Unless everybody has smaller forearms than I do. Problem is, these clips are very stout, I would say, and you don't have a ton of leverage, I would also say. Every now and again, it feels like my arm's almost getting stuck, which is like a really fun feeling. Well, if any of you in the comments have a better way to do this, feel free to let us all know. All right, that seems like it's on. Okay, that is on, and it was not fun. Yes, not much room to work with, that's for sure. So what we'll do now is we're probably gonna go ahead and wipe out the inside a little bit more. Seemed like with my hand right there, I was disturbing some stuff, and that didn't come out before. I think the filters are gonna have to earn their keep on this, so we'll see how that goes. So this is the part that just holds on the cap. The outer part actually plugs in first, and then it's held in with some set screws. So that part comes off. I'm working the gasket around. This This is one of the hardest parts because this gasket fits so snugly. So basically what happens is, once you get this in here, there's set screws that actually go around the outer perimeter. So you get it locked in, and then those set screws actually hold it in. All right, so I got all that about as good as it's gonna get for now. It is missing some bolts up here, which we'll have to figure out. Now we're gonna take this back over and start plugging it in. This is all about lining the pins back up. All right, got the pin in. Now we can put this kickstand back up. Somewhere in there. All right, so now there's a washer with a clip. That's gonna go in from this side. All right, that's in. Okay. So now let's get the fuel pump plugged back in, and now we're gonna start plugging all the hoses back in. So here is the delivery. All right, so this should say B for backflow, which it does. I'm gonna cut off the end of this one because this seems a little bit frayed. So all that looks good now. So let's cycle the key again to make sure. Yep, I can hear it running. All that looks good. So now I just need to put some gas in there and we'll see what it does. All right, I think we're ready to test. After you've undid all these hoses, make sure that the gas tank is not like crushing them as it comes back down. I'm gonna put in, so I actually got some new gas. Probably just gonna put in about a gallon, you know, just enough that I can put it out with a hose if I need to. Don't wanna put in all 4 gallons. Oh, we're just gonna paint the whole bike with it, I guess. Well, it's leaking out of the overflow, so that's a good sign. I'm gonna make sure all the other gas is a little bit further away as we try to start this thing up. So we have another Ducati that is similar model year, except it has the bigger engine. It had something right around the gas tank right here where it had a leak on the seam, and the Ducati dealer said that they wouldn't even work on it while it had that. So we epoxy coated the inside of the tank and it fixed it. So I'm a little leery when I see gas leaking from the bottom right here, but I did overfill it, so I'm just making sure that it is not continually leaking. All right, so I'm gonna have it add 2 amps just so I can hear the fuel pump cycle, and then I can check all this to see if there's like a massive leak somewhere. I do hear it moving around, so it's not a bad sign. I don't see any leaks other than possibly from me overfilling it. Hard to say what it needs now because it could need more gas. It's like a weird sound coming out of the gas tank. Well, the only other thing we can try is putting a tiny bit of gas down into the actual throttle bodies themselves so that we could see if there's if it's actually firing, because we saw that it was actually triggering. We're just not sure if the injectors are actually firing currently. Okay, so we were having no luck trying to start this with the fuel injection system, so I just wanted to see if it would fire. So I'm actually squirting gas directly into the throttle bodies just to see what happens. All right, so it wants to run. So we're not sure if it has something to do with the power commander or if it has something to do with the fuel injectors just being completely toast. But it sounds pretty good. Let me just squirt that back in there. So I'm gonna try hooking up the power commander and then we'll see what happens. All right, so we hooked up the power commander and still no dice. We checked the fuses, everything's good. We checked the fuse over here, everything's good. We pulled out one of the fuel injection connectors and hooked it up to a voltmeter. It seems to be working. So the last thing that I can possibly think of is that the fuel injectors are either frozen or gone and need to be replaced or cleaned. So unless any of you guys have an idea, so we can spray gas directly into the throttle bodies and it will kick off. like that. So the bike thinks it wants to run, for sure. So there's nothing stopping the ignition. So not quite sure. I mean, if there's anything that I'm overlooking before I just dig into actually going for new injectors, please let me know. So, sounds good. If any of you guys have any ideas, I don't know how much further we can go from here because it seems like it's the fuel injectors at this point because I'm spraying gas down the intake and it seems to be working fine. So need all of you Ducati mechanics out there to let me know what's going on here. So this is a 2001 Ducati Monster 900. Anybody got any ideas? It's running, but not really, but sort of. The fuel pump is completely submerged. The gas is to about here inside of there, and I could see it moving the gas around. It doesn't seem like it's that, but I'll double check that before we sign off. All right, so we just looked inside the gas tank. The fuel pump's working and it sounds like it's good. I mean, I don't have a pressure gauge hooked onto it, so it's possible that it's a brand new fuel pump is bad. So I'm assuming that the fuel pump is good, even though I don't have a pressure gauge on it because I don't see any good spots for a pressure gauge. So if that's not it, then what do you think? Like, what do you guys think is it? Because I'm kind of feeling like it's the fuel injectors not, like maybe they're gummed up and they're not actually firing. But I don't know. I'll leave it to you guys. Leave it down in the comments. What's going on with the Ducati?